We must now move on to the third part and examine what the science of cosmology tells us about the universe. It seems to me to be perfectly reasonable to assume that if a landlord has abandoned his property, at least temporarily, as I explained at the end of part 6, and the human race has been left to get on with things on their own, and possibly even engineer their own destruction, then whoever or whatever started this process in the first place would probably leave a few clues about exactly what is going on, apart from a couple of parables from a homeless preacher who was sent to his premature death on a cross. Scientists would like us to believe that science and religion are going in quite different directions, but the reality is that the more science examines and discovers, the more it uncovers these clues and mysteries which seem to me to be put there on purpose. It should also be common sense to recognise that science and religion give different views of the same problem, and it is short-sighted to make them mutually exclusive. Einstein was a skeptic and agnostic all his life, but he did say this: "Science without religion is lame. Religion without science is blind." And Sir Isaac Newton, probably the most important scientist in the last 200 years, said this: "I was like a boy playing on the seashore, and diverting myself now and then finding a smoother pebble, or a prettier shell than ordinary, whilst the great ocean of truth lay all undiscovered before me." Think of the world as a crime scene again. We appear to be living in the cruelest possible world, where the perpetrator has long since disappeared, and humans are left to sort things out as best they can. Part and parcel of sorting things out must be to find the perpetrator, and to do that we have to look for clues at the crime scene. These clues may not be evidence which would stand up in any court of law, simply because it's perfectly possible for the creator or perpetrator to be clever enough not to leave any of that sort of evidence. We could collect forensic evidence and DNA samples, which we would obviously class as the scientific evidence, but we must also examine motives and reasons, which we would class as the spiritual, religious or moral evidence. But the really difficult part is searching for the clues which are hidden in both. For example, I don't know whether you noticed, but in the 21st century version of the landlord parable, which I examined in part 6, I said this: "The landlord, which was a god of course, was still patient, so he decided to send somebody rather special. In the same way as he had started life from a single cell of life in the womb of the earth many millions of years ago, he started a human life in the womb of a specially chosen human called Mary." This is, of course, a reference to what is commonly called the virgin birth. It all sounds so far-fetched that most listeners would dismiss it on the spot. But don't be so sure. Look up for yourself this scientific theory called panspermia, and you will see that what I said is not so much a scientific fiction, but a scientific possibility. It is a known fact that Mars and Earth have been trading rocks and dust for millions of years. On a larger scale, it is another known fact that the entire universe is a huge nuclear production factory of essential gases and elements, of which the elements for life, such as hydrogen, helium and oxygen, are a tiny byproduct. If life on Earth started as a result of meteorites bombarding the Earth billions of years ago, and contained in those meteorites were the first cells of life, or even simple bacteria, then there should be no problem with the theory. But why leave it there as just another scientific theory? Go one step further into possible enlightenment and ask yourself whether it could be a clue left at the crime scene for which things which go beyond scientific theory into the realms of theology. Many Christian people have great difficulty with the concept of a virgin birth, but it is made a little easier to understand that it is possible, when the same process could have been used billions of years previously to start life on Earth. So is this a clue with theological implications or not? It also works the other way round. Clues can be found in the Bible which are related to scientific discoveries, world problems, or general human activities on a global scale, such as politics, war, or economy. Here is one to start things off, which can be interpreted as war or pollution. The book of Revelation is the last book in the Bible, and all 22 chapters are a description of the future. Chapter 1, verse 1 of Revelation gives the title, "The revelation of Jesus Christ, which God gave him to show his servants what must soon take place." In chapter 11, at verse 18, it says this, "The time has come for judging the dead, and for rewarding your servants the prophets, and your saints, and those who reverence your name, both small and great, and for destroying those who destroy the earth." As there are many prophecies in Revelation which talk about destruction, disease, death and war on a huge scale, then it is easy to assume that this is one of them. But as there is no mention of war in this verse, one has to assume that the destruction of the earth is by other means. If the destruction is by pollution, how did the first century writer of Revelation know about a 21st century problem? And is the increase in pollution to a state where it is out of control and literally destroying the planet a clue that God will intervene on the basis of enough is enough? And does this verse show that the earth means more to God than the evil people on it, which then means he could well have made it all in the first place and doesn't want millions of years of hard work to be destroyed? I think it could mean all these things, but as with everything else, you will have to make up your own mind. What else can the universe or the science of cosmology tell us, or that may give us clues to why we are here? Well, it is a scientific fact that all the elements on the earth, including all life, me and you, all originated from stars. I repeat, the very same stars which you can see twinkling in the sky on a clear night are the workers and factories of the universe, and are the reason that you are here, and the reason that the earth is here. Read any article on the subject of stars, red giants, white dwarfs or supernova to confirm this for yourself. Most stars last a very long time, and their lifespans are calculated in billions of years. From the point of view of the average human being, who will live from just 50 to 80 years, this may as well be infinity. But from the point of view of the future of the earth and its own star, the sun, the future is not good. The slightest change in the energy of the sun as it begins to change into the next stage of its evolution will spell disaster on earth. But the change is as certain as night follows day, and little green apples. There will be no life on earth to see this happen, and the picture you see on this screen of our sun as a red giant will never be seen by anyone. Let me put this a little more bluntly. It has taken unknown billions of years for the universe to become reasonably stable. Stable enough to allow one tiny galaxy in a tiny corner of that universe to develop a solar system and planets, including our Earth. It has taken another unknown millions of years for that tiny solar system and planets to stabilise and for life to appear on Earth. Scientifically speaking, no one knows how or why life appeared when it did. In a few more millions of years in the future, all this will change, as the Sun changes to a supernova, and there will be no sign of life anywhere in the entire solar system, as everything turns yet again into interstellar dust particles and gas. This is not science fiction, it is scientific fact. Everything which has been achieved will be lost in time and space. This is the story of the cosmos and its universe. We have no idea why we are here, and there is no future. Everything is in fact nothing, and I am wasting my time with this video. Goodbye.